It's a decision sending shockwaves through the entire aviation industry. Boeing is shutting down its secretive multi-billion-dollar network of so-called shadow factories. Officially, the company calls this a strategic pivot, a move to improve efficiency. But according to insiders, that public statement is just a smokescreen. Whistleblower reports and explosive internal documents appear to reveal the real story behind what forced the CEO's hand. This may not have been a choice at all, but a desperate last-ditch attempt to contain a crisis spiraling out of control. Today we're exploring the secrets that led to this massive shutdown, the timeline of decay that threatens the company's very existence, and what it all means for the future of air travel. The official announcement was buried in corporate jargon, words like restructuring and streamlining. But the reality on the ground was anything but routine. Boeing confirmed it was emptying its shadow factories, secretive facilities in Washington, hidden from public view. These weren't ordinary hangars. They were industrial emergency rooms, where hundreds of brand new jets, fresh off the assembly line but riddled with major flaws, were sent for extensive rework and repairs. Think of them as the company's hidden hospital for broken airplanes. Jets were quietly shuttled here to fix serious manufacturing defects before they were delivered to airlines. In the same breath, the company announced it would cease production of its iconic 767 freighter in Everett by 2027 and slash its global workforce by roughly 10%. For years, these rework facilities were the skeletons in Boeing's closet, a physical symbol of a company struggling with its own broken culture. Now that entire secret operation is being dismantled. The billion-dollar question is, why now? To truly understand why this is happening, you have to go beyond the press releases. You have to listen to the people who worked from inside. For years, a growing chorus of whistleblowers has been painting a disturbing picture of a company that, they claim, consistently prioritized profits and production speed over passenger safety. Consider the testimony of Sam Salapur, a current Boeing engineer who stood before Congress in early 2024. He made the stunning claim that on the 787 Dreamliner assembly line, workers were forced to use excessive force to jam together fuselage sections that were improperly manufactured. He warned this created unsafe gaps that could, over time, risk a catastrophic failure in the air. When he raised these urgent concerns to management, he says he was told to shut up. Then there is the tragic story of John Barnett, a quality manager with over 30 years of experience at Boeing. Before his death in March 2024, Barnett was actively suing the company. He alleged that workers, under immense pressure to meet deadlines, were deliberately fitting substandard parts onto aircraft, sometimes pulling them directly from scrap bins. He described a pervasive culture where speed was valued far more than safety. These were not isolated incidents. They pointed to a pattern, a culture of fear that silenced dissent and a systemic breakdown in the very quality control systems meant to keep passengers safe. The warnings were there for years, but to understand how things got this bad, you have to rewind to one pivotal moment in the company's history. The Boeing of today is not the same company that once helped take America to the moon, celebrated for its engineering prowess. So how did it get here? Many insiders trace the origin of the decay back to a single year, 1997. They call it the original sin, the year Boeing merged with its chief rival, McDonnell Douglas. On paper, it was a merger of equals. In reality, many longtime employees say the cost-cutting, profits-first culture of McDonnell Douglas began a hostile takeover of Boeing's legendary engineering-focused DNA. Former employees describe a dramatic shift. Engineers who once had the final say on safety and design were now routinely overruled by accountants. The primary objective shifted from building the world's safest, most reliable airplanes to maximizing shareholder value above all else. This cultural rot didn't cause an immediate collapse. It was a slow-acting poison. It was a decades-long series of choices that gradually chipped away at the company's reputation for quality and set the stage for the crisis it faces today. Once that foundation of engineering excellence cracked, the structural problems began to show. The first major sign of trouble was the 787 Dreamliner. In an effort to save money and speed up production, Boeing outsourced the manufacturing of critical parts to a sprawling global network. The result was a quality control nightmare. Components arrived from different suppliers that didn't fit together properly, leading to the very fuselage gaps that whistleblower Sam Salapur would later warn Congress about. Then came the crisis that brought Boeing to its knees, the 737 MAX. Desperate to compete with a new jet from Airbus, Boeing rushed a modified 737 to market. It was equipped with a flawed flight control system called MCAS, and worse, the company failed to properly inform pilots about how it worked. The result was two horrific crashes that killed 346 people and exposed what a U.S. government report called a culture of concealment. Even after that global scandal, the problems continued. In January 2024, a door plug panel blew off an Alaska Airlines 737 MAX flight in midair. The FAA's response was unprecedented. It capped Boeing's 737 production indefinitely, forbidding the company from expanding until it could prove it had fixed its deep-seated safety and quality problems. The financial fallout was immense, as the company reported another staggering net loss at the end of 2024, marking its sixth straight year of losing money. And all of this, the warnings, the crashes, the public emergencies, it all leads back to the shadow factories. These facilities weren't just a footnote in the production process. They were the final destination on this path to ruin. They were the physical evidence of every shortcut taken, every warning ignored, and every brand new plane that was too flawed to be delivered. The decision to finally shut them down was not made in a vacuum. It was the direct result of overwhelming pressure. Pressure from the FAA, which had taken control of its production oversight. Pressure from whistleblowers, testifying in Congress. And pressure from the devastating financial numbers that showed a company in deep crisis. Closing these rework centers wasn't about streamlining production. It was about stopping the bleeding. It was a desperate public attempt to prove to regulators that this time they were finally serious about quality, by dismantling the very system they had created to hide their lack of it. It was a public admission that their entire production process was broken. So what comes next for this embattled titan of aviation? Can a company this massive truly fix a culture that appears to be so fundamentally broken? Boeing's leadership is making new promises, talking about a renewed focus on safety, quality, and transparency, but the mountain they have to climb is immense. The company remains under severe restrictions from the FAA. Its global supply chain is still in disarray, and most importantly, trust from airlines, from regulators, and from the flying public is at rock bottom. This is more than just a corporate restructuring. This is Boeing's moment of truth. Shutting down its shadow factories is either the first painful step toward a real, lasting cultural change, or it's just the final chapter in the tragic decline of an American icon. The question is no longer if Boeing can build planes, it's whether it can rebuild the trust it so carelessly broke.